And we're back. It's the Wedge Radio Show. And looks like on the line we have Rice Pirate. Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, dude?
Now, you're sick, right?
I am. I'm really freaking sick. But I don't really want to talk about me being sick. That's kind of lame. I did want to say though, before we get into this, as far as the conversation you guys were just having, you're absolutely right. Shit with sex has always been fucking weird, man. You know, ancient Chinese, they always had they like to have their women have bound feet, and apparently like the bound feet, the skin would start to rot, and apparently the smell really turned some dudes on. They'd have weird shit where like the bound feet would like go in their butts and stuff like that because it was supposed to be the perfect symbolism of like a phallic symbol and a vagina at the same time. If you ever seen a bound foot, that's basically what it looks like. You know, Cleopatra apparently loved to have jizz baths. You know, the Romans were all fucking crazy. If you saw Caligula, you know, I mean, just like, you know, midgets humping people's wives, like just crazy, you know, weird orgy shit. I think it's just because here in America, you know, we're based on like a puritanical society. At least, you know, our founding fathers of our country were Puritans. And so, you know, we have a very puritanical view of what sex is. And so for us, you know, we're kind of behind in terms of like Japan or France or Germany. Like, you know, they never had that problem. They never had the reset like we did.
I can't wait for the vending machines. I'm looking forward for those.
Oh, yeah. That's what I loved about Japan. It's like you can get lettuce and porn from a vending machine. It's like you get anything.
Man, I need to get out more.
Sorry, so I just wanted to tack that little note on to the end of that. But anyways, please
that's
continue.
great.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah. I know like our audience is diverse across like the country and like, you know, across the U.S. and parts of like different countries out there. So how would you say? Because like I know I saw first time I saw some of your stuff was on Newgrounds.
Yeah.
And Newgrounds is one of those sites that kind of stayed true for the most part to what it really was from. As far as I remember it.
Yep. And I mean, I love Newgrounds. Newgrounds forever, Newgrounds for life. They're having a tough time. If you've been to their site, you'll see that they're asking for support from their audiences. If you guys like Newgrounds, it's not much. It's like 10 or 15 bucks. And really, it's just to get, you know, pop-up ads off the site. But really, it's to support Newgrounds because, unfortunately, YouTube just offers so much more in terms of compensation for effort and time, and so a lot of people have kind of migrated away from Newgrounds, which is unfortunate. The audience base of Newgrounds is generally people who are constantly trying to use ad blockers anyway, so it's like, you know, it's like this. It is very true to what it is, but it also harbors like everyone who doesn't want to pay for shit.
Yeah. It's just the Napster mentality is like alive and well.
Well, I mean, anything that could be found on Newgrounds, a lot of people would probably go to YouTube to find. I mean, sometimes it's hard to find some videos on Newgrounds. I just go to YouTube.
It's absolutely true. No, it's absolutely true. And just like the suggested videos and all that, it's just a smarter algorithm and stuff like that. I mean, the real strength of Newgrounds is that it is unfiltered, that, you know, like you said, it stays true to itself, and so you can get all sorts of crazy shit on there, you know, and people don't have to worry about, you know, censorship or all that kind of stuff.
And I asked Roach to bring up some of your work so we can just kind of like peruse it while we talk to you, and he went straight to YouTube.
Yeah, it's just easier, which is unfortunate. And plus, you know, with like YouTube, because of the searching, like if you do like my name Rice Pirate or something, it'll probably pull up the other videos that I'm a part of, if that makes any sense. So like, because I do a lot of voicing for a lot of other animators and whatnot.
Well, like one of the videos that popped up right away was like Rupert the Koopa, Batman Arkham City. Yeah, a few of these I haven't even seen yet.
Yeah, those are more recent. Like I made those, like I think fall of last year. I made a couple. I made one on New Year's about the Wii U. It's kind of shitty. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of my own work, to be honest. I mean, I like some of them. I want to get better, obviously, but I do love working with other people.
I was gonna say that like Newgrounds is a I've noticed that recently because I joined Newgrounds like in I think it was like 96 like 98 or something like that. And so when I recently started to go back because I started doing some drawing and working on stuff like that, and I noticed that they have like the community with the forums. I never went there, and they have the collaboration and all that stuff. Like to me, that just seemed like it's moving on in that sense of being able to work with other people a lot easier than they used to.
Yeah. When I first started, I mean, I started Flash animation, 2 years ago? So not very long ago. And voice acting for character stuff. I mean, I've been a professional voice actor for a while, but I did a lot of like boring narration projects and stuff. I mean, they pay fine, and I enjoy doing the work, but my real passion was doing, cartoon voices and all that kind of stuff. And so Newgrounds was a great way. Their forums, they basically have like these big casting calls for things. Anyone who needs something, it's like, hey, I'm doing animation, I need a voice. It's like, everyone raises their hand, and if you've got a decent demo or whatever, And so it was a really great way for me to really kind of get a name for myself, because I basically did anything and everything just for the experience and, just to practice and have fun. But I attribute all of my internet presence to Newgrounds and the collaborative forums that they had. I wouldn't be anywhere in terms of YouTube and whatnot without that.
And like we wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for the the first time I saw like the Rice Pirate logo thing was on the Hellbenders. And
oh, cool.
And yeah, from that I started looking into some of the people who were involved, and that's when I came across your stuff. And then I realized I saw some of your stuff before, like previously. I just didn't know who made it. And it's just like going across something like that, because like I used to just go across I'm saying across a lot. I used to just go through the front page and just exhaust the front page and then come back in like a month.
Right.
But when you come across something like you did the droppings.
Yeah.
Like that one I've seen a couple times because I just thought it was just fucking funny.
Yeah.
and I don't know why Harley Quinn is just like just the way she looks. Like just like it doesn't even matter. She's just sexy. I don't know what that is.
I was heavily inspired. I was aiming towards a Harry Partridge type aesthetic, at least for one or two of the shots with her. But no, that was a fun project. That was one of those ones that like I had an idea and I was really psyched, and then I got like halfway through and I was on the fence. And then I got about 80% through, and I had no idea what I was doing at that point. Like I'd invested like a month and a half. I had someone doing backgrounds for me, and at that point I was just like, I have no idea where any of this is going anymore. Like I totally just lost control of whatever it is that I was making. In the end, I think you kind of get the sense that I lost a little bit of control. But I don't know if audiences mind that. I think when it feels too controlled and too contained and too prescribed, that your audience is just like, okay, so, all right, done. Like, okay, that was done.
Well, I would say that the Arkham City, the droppings didn't feel like the feeling that I got from that was the feeling that it had. There's something like you can tell the person liked the topic that they were doing, the Batman.
Right.
So
good.
Yeah,
it makes me feel better.
it didn't seem like it lost control at the end. It was like, I think it's funny. Here you go. And
good.
Yeah,
good.
I appreciate that.
I think it's hard to keep a genuine, impartial perspective of anything you do, especially after like a month or two of working on something. I feel like if it's like a week, if you got this like brain spark and you're like, oh shit, and you just like, crap it out as fast as you can, you want to make it fun and nice or whatever, then I think it's easier to understand the scope of what you're doing. You know what the joke was, you execute it, you're done, it's funny, check it out, you still laugh at it. But when you sit there staring at it for like 2 months, tweaking jokes again and again and again, I think you just kind of lose sight of, is this even funny? Is this even, people even going to like this?
I had a professor tell me one time, because he worked on he did I guess the sound effects like in Pro Tools for The Matrix. and he told
Oh,
us,
wow.
he's like, don't use any sound that's from that movie because the second I hear it, I'm gonna know it and I'm gonna get angry.
Yeah, man. I can't even imagine. I'm sure people like that like dream in that shit. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just like embedded in their heads.
Yeah. How long does it take for you to I guess flesh a project out for the most part, one that you're doing the animation for?
For me, it really depends on what my schedule is. I mean, I got a full-time job. I have a beautiful wife, and I have now a mortgage on a house. So, um, my time is fairly limited. When I have a chunk of time, I feel like, I mean, I have like a backlog of like 30 scripts. And luckily, I can voice my own stuff, which I think holds back a lot of other creators, where they're kind of dependent upon other people completing their parts. There's a number of creators who kind of just want to do it themselves. It's not because they think they're better than everyone. It's not because they don't like to collaborate. It's just a lot easier. You can expedite the process if you're doing everything, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, like, you'll change jokes. You'll write a joke and then you'll change it. And it sucks so much when you have to, like, someone sent you 10 takes of a joke. And then you're like, you know what? I don't even want to fucking use this joke anymore. It's stupid. Hey, can you do this other joke now? You just don't want to be in that position. So a lot of guys don't do it unless you really trust the people that you're working with, or you are just not capable of doing it yourself. So for me, I feel like the process is a little bit faster. Also, I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not the best artist. So that also shaves off a lot of time. There's plenty of really talented dudes that, if they wanted to, could be kicking out a cartoon a week, but instead kick them out once a month, if that. And it's because, and I see it. It's like I can see the progress of their work. I'm like, dude, you're still working on that same scene. And it's like, yeah, but it's so perfect. Like, if you look at it, it is just immaculate and beautiful. The problem is that your YouTube audience is looking at shit on their phone. They're looking at it in their sidebar, their Facebook feed. They can't even see half the details that these guys are putting into their cartoons, which is sad. It doesn't mean that they should lower the quality of the work, but for me, I don't necessarily worry about that so much. For me, it's more about telling the joke than it is about making a beautiful, awesome animation. Short answer is generally 2 weeks to a month is how long it takes me to do about a 45-second to a minute and a half animation. It depends on how complex it is.
I always find myself when I do, because like I'm working on this project right now of just like a picture book that I want to sell at like local comic book shops. Cool. But I find myself showing people, like wanting to show people, I'm like, hey, look at this, look at that, and I'm just pointing at all these things I just like that I'm just surprised I did it.
Right.
And no, I can relate with I guess like those people.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Like, in the animation community, there's really just two types of people. I guess there's three. And there's the people who like don't like anything they make. They just like hate everything they make. And there are the people who love everything they make. And then there are the people who are totally just impartial. They just make it and they don't even care. It's interesting that it is so black and white with a lot of animators. Most of the guys I hang out tend to side on the I hate everything I do. So we just sit around talking about how much, we thought something. I mean, we'll laugh at some of our jokes. Obviously, we think some parts of it are funny, but for the most part, we're always talking about the things that we need to improve on, which is a great environment, I think. It's kind of negative, but it's like positive all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we're constantly trying to push ourselves. And it's not disingenuous either. I don't think any of us are saying these things in order to get a pat on the back. Plenty of us are doing just fine. My friend's doing really fine on the internet with the animations, but there's a very genuine desire to get better. My friend Psychic Pebble or Zach, he's talking about how he really wants to get into anatomy. He really wants to draw. Anatomy is really important to him. Now, for someone with like 400,000 subscribers, and this is what he does for a living. He's been making all these cartoons. He's doing Hellbenders. It's like he doesn't need to study anatomy. You know, that's not something that he needs to go into, but as an artist, it's something that he wants to, you know, strive to learn. You know, Oni and G or Oni. He's getting into film now and really wants to expand into film, but like he could totally be content, you know, just composing music and making cartoons, but that's just like constantly trying to better themselves and learn more things, which I greatly respect, especially because I'm kind of new to everything. So it's nice to be around people who are constantly improving.
I think that's a good way of just living. Like a good idea or a good way of having like just life in general is to always constantly be learning or getting better at whatever you do. You don't want to stagnate anywhere.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. I mean, I would say, especially with creators, I don't want to just say for creators, that's unfair, but, you know, there are schools of thought like, hey, you should be content with life. You know, like if you're not content with life, you'll never be happy. You know, the
that's
ability
just so you can
to
get married. You just be content. Yeah, you settle. We all know that.
Right. But it's like the idea that if you don't choose to do that, then you'll never be happy or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and forth on it. You know, there's a story of Leonardo da Vinci on his deathbed, and he, like, not exactly what he said, but essentially said, forgive me, God, for I didn't create as much as I could have, or I failed you. You know, basically the idea that his last dying breath, the last thought that went through his head was, I'm so sorry that I didn't make more shit. And I think, you know, it's like, obviously he was someone who pushed himself. I don't want to be in that position where like I literally revolutionized mankind and I still feel like I didn't do enough. You know, like that would really suck.
He sounds pompous. It's like, I'm sorry, God, that I am dying. I could have done so much more for you, but you know what? You fucked up, and I'm dying.
That way, absolutely. It could have totally been. Could have been like, dude, I'm sorry. Apparently, I had to die. You fucking dick. Who made up these rules? You know.
After all I've done for you.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna take his place. So when did you start doing like the animation and voice work? Like, are you you say you have a full-time job? Is that encompassing voice work?
No, the voice work is all supplementary, and I started that probably about 5 years ago. The company I have with my wife is called Artist Upgrade, and we're a small boutique branding company. By brand development, we do, you know, everything from the logo to your website, and then, you know, then we transfer it over to your print materials. You know, if you need social media stuff set up, we'll help you with that. You know, small businesses nowadays, they get fed a lot of catchphrases and whatnot about, oh, you need social media marketing, blah, 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 blah. And it's kind of like, well, you don't if you're doing X service or X company. You know, you're a very local company and there's 12 people in your town or whatever, nobody that even has Facebook in your town, or, you know what I mean? I mean, that's obviously an exaggeration, but looking at the needs of companies and providing them with solutions all the way from strategy to design. And we've been doing that for quite some time now. And it's been going really, really good. It is a full-time freaking job and we do it from home. So when I roll out of bed, you know, I'm 10 feet from work, which is a blessing and a curse. You know, like some people are like, oh, you're so lucky. You can work in your underwear and you can eat breakfast whenever, do whatever you want. You can take a break whenever you want. And it's like, yeah, kind of. But I also sleep like, you know, 20 feet away from my deadlines, from my clients, from projects that are unfinished, you know, like there's not that peace of mind that like I left the office kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then on top of all of that, my hobbies are voiceover, animating, and writing. So, and drawing, I guess. So really my work and my leisure are all kind of in the same location, I guess. So I end up spending all my time in my office anyway. Sorry, what was the question again?
I asked you if you ever open the window and look outside.
I do. You know what? I actually put my computer in front of a window. So I am forced to look out my window while I work, which is good. No, I think your question was about what I do in terms of animation when I started and the work stuff. So I started animating in my off time, which isn't very much, about 2 years ago when I joined Newgrounds. I'd watched a lot of Ego Raptor videos, a lot of Weeble stuff, and I never knew about Newgrounds. I just knew it from YouTube. And then Ego Raptor has a video where he's like, stop fucking watching my videos on YouTube. The compression is bullshit. Go watch it on newgrounds.com, you dicks. And then I was like, newgrounds.com, okay, this sounds cool. And so I went there and I realized like every cool video I'd ever seen on the internet was like started in Newgrounds. All of the creators started at Newgrounds. Harry Partridge, Oni, Ego Raptor, Weeble, even Tom Scott, a lot of these guys who are just ginormous now on YouTube, all started at Newgrounds. And so I just, I've always drawn and I love computers. I had a copy of Flash for like 5 years, but I never used it. And I liked voiceover, so I gave it a stab. My first cartoon was called, I think, Noises in the Library or something. It's a parody of the video game Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I don't know if you ever played that game. It's a great game. But the original PS version of it, there was this whole scene in the library where the librarian tells your character, Alucard, that he can't help you because he can't betray the master. But he keeps calling you master, which is like really weird. He's like, but master, I can't betray the master, master. And then you're like, but I need your help. But master, the master won't let me do that, master. I don't know. It was a funny joke that my friend and I enjoyed, so I animated it. And it was my first animation. Tom Fulp, the guy who runs the site, put it on the front page. And I was just really inspired from there on out. It was just like, wow, okay, cool. And that was it.
Yeah, like Newgrounds is weird. I want to say it had something to do with trauma, like years ago. Because I remember a commercial with, like a trauma commercial that had the Newgrounds website in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so. And then there's like the dude, like the fat dancing dude and shit. I forgot his name. He was even on the Newgrounds site for a while. And then there's a lot of really good music artists that have come from Newgrounds as well. What's his name? X-Core. He's doing lots of tours and stuff like that. And
well, yeah, there's the audio portal and like it really is a place for artists.
Everything. Yeah, everything. Artists,
Fuck
animators, game. I mean, we didn't even talk about games. I mean, there's all the freaking games on that thing too. And they always have just fun, collaborative, like game jams and stuff like that, where people get like a weekend to make a game and stuff. It's just a really great community. I can't talk about it enough. Obviously, I am concerned about its future, just because YouTube is kind of killing everything.
But you can't play the games on YouTube.
You can't. You really can't.
Oh yeah, that is true. I love those games.
Yeah. So yeah, just 2
sex
years, and no one heard of any of my shit until the beginning of last year when I did ... It was this animated typography about a review, and it was like the first viral thing I ever did, and I think it got like 1.4 million views like in the first, I don't know, like 2 weeks or something.
God damn.
And that was on Newgrounds. That wasn't even YouTube. That was Newgrounds. So that was on the front page for a very long time. A lot of people got sick of looking at that thing. But it was originally voiced by a Newgrounds voice actor. And it was based on a game made by Newgrounds game programmers. And the review that was narrated was a review by a Newgrounds critic or Newgrounds user review. So it was just like a lot of fun, like collaborative, even unintentionally collaborative in that way.
Yeah, it is one of the I guess for me, I remember the first time coming across it and wanting to be a part of it just from the get-go. And I could draw a little bit here and there, but that was about it. But then coming back to it about like 10 years later and seeing how it felt the same, but it's progressed. And it was always nice to see the number one portal entry just get blown down to it would seem like the bottom.
Yeah.
Because it used to be that guy did a really good job with that animation. And now it's like, okay, this made me laugh really hard, and this was well done, and everything about it. Like what I've noticed now is that before the audio used to be shit, and now the audio in a lot of these, like I would say, a lot of the stuff that's out there is professional grade.
The bar has risen so quickly on all of that material. There's people who actually leave Newgrounds. Some dude left Newgrounds, and he left this just bitchy ass pathetic note on his way out, and he was like, you know, I'm tired of everyone on Newgrounds getting so much better than me. Everyone's gotten so good, and it's impossible to make anything without people crapping on it now because everyone thinks you have to have great stuff. He's like, I'm going to DeviantArt where I can get some real criticism. It was like,
it was just stupid.
It was like the saddest thing I ever heard. Like,
but it's like
the internet's full of criticism. That's like all it is.
But like Newgrounds is kind of weird because it's not a lot of the comments. Because I have 2 videos on there that I did when when I was in high school, and that was over 10 years ago. And those are those have comments, and some of the comments are saying, you know what, I like the idea, and it just gave you actual suggestions as opposed to, you're a piece of shit for making that.
Yeah, I think the way Newgrounds does it, you're only allowed to post 1 review or 1 comment on a video or game or whatever. The only exception is like a news page, news post that you paste on your URL. Mm-hmm. But I think because of that, you can't just write, you're a fucking idiot, or this is gay, or whatever. I mean, some people still do that.
I'm tired of all the gay videos out there.
Well, if it's only 1 comment, then you got to make it count. That's
exactly. Well, that's what happens is you only got 1, so then people try to make it count. Some people really try to make it count. Like, they milk that character limit. You know what I mean?
Super gay. Just call it super gay.
Yeah, it sums up everything.
Okay, so we're gonna have to go to break. It was great talking to you. Should we just call you Rice Pirate? Do you want to? Is that your moniker?
It's easier that way. I'm not trying to hide my name, but it's just if you say Mick, no one knows who the fuck I am. So Rice Pirate makes more sense, and especially if you're archiving this at some point, people probably remember Rice Pirate more.
Yeah, that is true.
So do you want to give us, I guess, the websites people can go to check out some of your stuff?
Sure. I mean, you can go to ricepirate.com. That'll just link you pretty much to my YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that. But on Facebook, it's Rice Pirate, and on YouTube though, if you'd have to search Rice Pirate because my actual username is Rice Pirate Newgrounds, which seems appropriate considering our conversation today.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, thanks. We're gonna go to the break. Thanks again for calling in and letting us talk to you, especially since it's late for you.
Yeah.
Hey, no problem, man. I'm gonna go pass out.
All right. You're listening to the Wedge Radio Show.
The way radio should have been. The Wedge Radio Network.